The fact is, it's quite easy to get around to see them all. Just try to locate or park close to downtown. Huge arms that go out into the crowd where band members will go out by themselves and perform right next to you. The good news is no one hurt, and it's fairly contained. In the vehicle police discovered, they did find cash. As you can perhaps tell, this is not the kind of makeup I typically wear to look good on TV. Hey, it's a snow day, and there's no more school. Not to worry, Founders has plenty of beer available, dental floss, and a toothbrush. Let's go see how they're made in Michigan. Some sections of the road are dry and clear where they're not exposed to the wind. For some, it meant going face to face with the shooters. Are still working very hard at removing what is now the submerged oil. Live in Walker, Peter Ross, Lee, we're at the Ceresco Dam. This is one of the 3 priority focus areas where workers are still working very hard at removing what is now the submerged oil and taking it away. Enbridge has pledged that it will leave this area in the same shape it found it before the oil spill 1 year ago. It's a process that could take several years. On a steamy summer day, the Kalamazoo River outside Mary Dubrow's home looks clean, but some stains remain. Here's what it looked like days after the spill 1 year ago.
Hi, Mary Jo. Scott Northman with Enbridge calling.
Dubrow had a dock then and a retaining seawall.
I did get that clarified about the dock and the seawall.
The dock's still gone, and Dubrow wonders when Enbridge will replace it.
No, I just would like things fixed like they said they were going to do. And I don't feel I'm asking that much.
Enbridge said it could not comment on individual claims. The oil company offered to buy Dubrow's home, but she sees no reason to leave.
I'm hoping that it will get back to its normal and even maybe better if they get everything cleaned up.
Enbridge did buy about 130 homes, including Bobby Lewis's. We met Lewis last August.
They disrupted my way of life here, completely altered my way of life.
Some of our citizens really had a problem.
Human health problems have not surfaced, but underwater.
Yeah, I'm looking for some signs of life. I see nothing.
The fishery is far from normal.
You know, I'm not going to live forever here. You know, I want to get on the river. I want to hook up.
Dan Schellenbarger used to catch trophy-sized smallmouth bass not far from the 15-mile road bridge.
It was like a family member died, you know, it really did, to me.
And no one knows when that family member, the fishery, will find new life.
Looks dead. Hopefully it ain't.
It is possible parts of the Kalamazoo River could be reopened for recreation sometime before year's end. A lot of questions about this spill remain, and officials will do their best to answer them at an upcoming community meeting. It'll be held August 16th up the road at the Marshall Activity Center. Live in Calhoun County, Peter Ross, WZZM 13 News. A natural leader taken so soon. Hard to believe, but Ryan Fisher had too much heart. Hockey is all about heart.
Hockey's an emotional game anyway.
But Ryan Fisher was much more than a star on the ice. He was a 3-sport athlete honor student, also active in student government and his church.
And involved in a lot of volunteerism, and the most of all making an impact in changing lives.
Fisher was part of the youth ministry at St. Pius, where today classmates gathered for a pair of prayer vigils.
He just had a joyful presence, and someone as popular as him also seemed to have compassion for others.
Fisher's plans to continue serving to attend the prestigious West Point Military Academy. He wanted to be an aerospace engineer. But first, he was leading his Bulldogs on an improbable run to a hockey state championship. His teammates will play tonight without their leader, and no doubt inspired by him.
One young man I was talking to talked about what an inspiration he was to him, and that inspiration doesn't end with his death.
There's no question that Ryan Fisher will be an inspiration to students here in Granville and across West Michigan for decades to come. It's happening now all over Michigan, where people are no longer getting food paid for by the federal government. The cupboards are bare, and so are the cubicles at Asset, an agency that helps low-income people like Marilyn Clare.
And that affects a lot of people, and it's not good because it's hard to get through.
It's hard to get through days without food. Asset feeds about 1,300 people a month through the Department of Agriculture's Food and Nutrition Service.
This is a healthy mix of nutrients. You can see that we have vegetables, fruits.
When the government shut down October 1st, so did this food program.
And the people that are hardest hit are those that are at or below the poverty levels. So those individuals that are in most need of the services are the ones that are being directly impacted.
It's easy to see the impact at Asset.
The shelves are empty, and the commodities are gone.
October food distributions were to start Wednesday. Now, they won't.
We have our food. The problem is that we don't have the staff or the funds to be able to pay for the staff to distribute some of the food.
This government shutdown has also cost jobs here at Asset. Normally, this office area would be full of people, but Asset has laid off 11 people who have worked for this agency for over 2 decades. They're missing paychecks. Marilyn Clare thinks Congress should do the same.
We should not be paying them. They're not doing their job. They have not done their job in years, and we should not be paying them.
The shutdown has also shut down other services low-income people have come to depend on. This actually might be where it all started. We are in Ravenna, right off Apple Avenue at the Moss Ridge Golf Course. I can show you that billboard across the way collapsed. We think yesterday occurred that. Looking over here, you can see a number of these smaller trees that were knocked down. You can see the direction. Now walk with me here. These are some of the light poles at the Moss Ridge Golf Course. Smashed down, these steel things severed right here. I mean, the National Weather Service was out here this morning. We spoke to them. As of now, they are of the opinion that this was, in fact, a straight line wind event. You can see the other trees that were shorn off there by Apple Avenue. I tell you what, this will be open for weddings, parties, and banquets. This will be a great place to have a wedding. Great views of downtown. One thing I want to show you, though, there is a specially built kitchen for education and entertainment. It's going to be used for celebrity chefs and more, and I'll show you why. Well, this is where the supporters of the millage for Grand Rapids Streets Millage are turning out tonight in a sort of get out the vote rally for the vote, which is next Tuesday. They even have this. It's called Pothole Stout. It's unavoidable. A special brew brewed by Brewery Vivant, really to kind of get some publicity for this vote next week. Behind us here, the supporters, the Michigan Department of Transportation chairman is speaking right now. People in Grand Rapids say if the state's not going to take care of the road funding, they'll do it their own way. After years of planning and construction, Meijer cuts the ribbon on its new store at 8 Mile in Woodward next week. A $20 million investment in an area of Detroit so many have deserted. But it's not the only investment. Little House on the Prairie. They're all over the city of Detroit, including the Penrose neighborhood north of 7 Mile near Woodward. But a block away from the blight, new homes are rising. Things getting any better?
A lot better, I'll say.
Jonathan Hubbard moved to Penrose 6 years ago in the first phase of a developer's dream to provide quality rental housing for low-income people.
It's been just a barren land, basically. So now it's a neighborhood.
For the first time in decades, there is growth. New homes are going up. Gardens are taking root.
I love when I put produce in people's hands and then to see they smile on their face, and then that's what really excites me.
What's exciting many people along the nearby 8 Mile corridor is the new investment at Woodward Avenue.
It's the biggest development ever built in the city of Detroit. 350,000 square foot in one place. It's the biggest.
It's a brand new Meijer store.
In this case in particular, the stakes are so much higher and there's so much more investment in the community, so much more need for us to fill.
Needs that include creating 500 new jobs in a city where unemployment is twice the state average.
We have to collaborate as a state, because we have to win as a state, not as individual regions.
Like most new Meijer stores, Detroit's will include a Huntington Bank branch, open 7 days a week, filled with furnishings, especially designed for the bank by Steelcase. The Meijer store and the other retailers that surround it fills what for decades was a huge vacant space in a high traffic area.
I think there's a level of confidence. There's a lot of change going on in the city of Detroit.
For years and years, nobody was willing to try.
In his new book, author Mark Benelli calls Detroit America's largest urban failure that now possesses a weird sense of possibility.
I would hope that the proper resources are sort of channeled to saving the city, because I really do think, you know, the whole state needs to work together, and you need a big anchor city like that.
Now, Detroit is getting its first major big box retail store as West Michigan-based Meijer finally locates south of 8 Mile.
There aren't a lot of places where those kinds of stories are being told across the U.S. The fact that it's happening in Detroit is great, because frankly Detroit needs a few more of those stories.
Stories that include chapters where an honor student can see beyond the blight down the block to the possibility of regrowing his city.
I really want to stay here because I see it coming back. I really see it coming back.
Meijer's also cleared land in northwest Detroit for another store. It plans to build, but it's uncertain when work on that store will begin. And as you may know, a Whole Foods store opened downtown Detroit near Wayne State last month. Good evening, I'm Peter Ross in for Lee and Juliet. What if it happened in our community? A shooting with 30 victims. Emergency departments in Muskegon County wanted to know how well they would respond. WZZM 13's John Mills went inside, and tonight begins our team coverage. Organizers say they realized the training was needed following last winter's massive pileup on US 31. It involved 30 cars as well as semi-trucks, and paramedics had a difficult time reaching the injured. Now, there were hundreds of people who helped make the scenario as real as possible. For some, it meant going face-to-face with the shooters. WZZM 13's Sarah Sell continues our team coverage with an inside look at how the victims prepared. Well, the push for the playoffs continues for high school football teams. 13 on your sidelines. Tom Clyde is live at East Kentwood to count us down to kickoff for tonight's game of the week. It made some golfers extra nervous today, but for others it was the main attraction. Several reported sightings of a black bear in Jenison. Today, WZZM 13's Alex Shabbat took the unusual trip through the Wallenwood Springs Golf Club and found out it might have been a case of mistaken identity.